सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। On Tuesday we had celebrated Shri Adi Shankaracharya Jayanti. There is no need of introducing Shankaracharya to Indians. So I spoke in Sringeri Matam. Some of you have attended that. So Vivekananda Maharaj asked me to speak about Shankaracharya here also. So I am here. All of us know about the life of Shankaracharya. There is not much to tell about that. More or less everybody knows about the life of Shankaracharya. Where he was born, what he did, and finally what he accomplished. In brief, I will tell all that. Mainly my focus will be on the mission and vision of Shankaracharya. In his short life of 32 years, one wonders whether a person can do so much and achieve so much. But after going through the life of Swami Vivekananda, one can conclude in the short life also it is possible. That is why in one of the Mahabharata it is told that Muhurtum jalitam shreyo natu dhumaitam chiram. That means our life must be very short, meaningful and powerful. When we live intensely and when we are totally dedicated to some one idea, take up one idea and live with it, that will become a great life. And these great people like Shankaracharya and Swami Vivekananda wants to show to this world what a person can achieve in one life. This is what is more important in the life and teachings of Swami Vivekananda and Shankaracharya, which we find so much of commonality between them. And also during the Shankaracharya's birth time, which falls in this Vasantamasa Vaishaka Panchami, he is born. Usually the Ramanuja's and the Shankara's births coincides on the same day. This time only we had on two different dates. So both are the great teachers and the preachers of our Veda and Vedanta. They wrote the commentaries on Prasthanatraya. What is Prasthanatraya and all that? I will come to that later. So this Shankara birth week will be celebrated like the whole week is celebrated in many places. I was there in Kaladi for 6.5 years. So I was blessed to go there every day almost, and I used to do the Bhashya Parayana there in front of the place where Shankara was born. So Kaladi is known as the birthplace of Shankaracharya. So there is a great vibration there, and a lot of the Sringeri Mutt itself runs a branch there. And there is a Rigveda school also. And when I was there, some 16-20 students were there. Now it is all dwindled. They had to by heart the whole Rigveda, and then they will get into the Agama and other things, and they will go out of that school. That is how it is. And I used to sit for the Rigveda classes also whenever my time permits. So it is going on, and it was a wonderful experience there. And in that, during that this Shankara Jayanti time, there used to be 1 week of Shankara Saptaha. So every day there used to be a subject. Subject means one topic of the Shaddarshana, like Nyaya one day, Vyakarana one day, Mimamsa one day, Advaita one day, and all that. the big pandits used to come, and it's a great joy to attend that. And we also study a lot of the scriptures, Vedas and Vedantas. Only the grammar will be a little tougher compared to their, the caliber and standards, and also the Nyaya. These two, the Nyaya also, even though Shankara restricts the Tarka, the logics, to some limitations there, which will not lead you to experience fully. Apart from that, that helps as a tool, just like the other means which will help us. So these are the aspects. So everything goes together. Everything is included in Shankara system of philosophy. That means to say that all the Shaddarshanas are included in the approach to the Vedanta. And that itself, the foundation for all these things were laid by Shankara himself. So, the advent of Shankara, there are some 2-3 important turning points in the history of India. So Swami Vivekananda says that the India was saved twice by materialism, by Advaita. One is by Buddha and another is by Shankara. So according to Swami Vivekananda, Buddha taught Advaita itself. So if you read the philosophy of Buddha and if you read the philosophy of Shankara, there will be hardly any difference between their approaches. So both of them want us to realize the self. Both want us to realize the self by ourselves. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita it is told, Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayet. One should seek self by himself. So India is caught and fascinated with the word Shankara. So any pilgrimage places, any books, any stotras, whether he has written or not, it is some doubt is there historically whether the same Shankara wrote so many stotras about the so many deities. Those are all, some doubts are there, conflicts are there, yet we assign everything to Shankara. So there was some Abhinava Shankara who was in the Kanchi Kamakoti. He was the first Shankaracharya of the Kanchi Kamakoti, which is not established by Shankara in the Chaturamnaya Pita. Chaturamnaya Pita is Sringeri, Dwarika, Jyotish Mata and Puri Jagannatha. These four are the usually called matas, and other than that, whatever is there started by Shankaracharya is added later, appended later by belief system, the five system. One of the article I was reading in Vedanta Kesari a few days back, and in that I was reading about that, and I opened this that article, and there it was written that socialism and Shankara. And I thought that, and it was written by some Malayali. Usually the Malayalis are more socialist bent of mind people, communist bent of mind people. So I thought he will be criticizing Shankara. It was not it. He was in favor of Shankara. The article goes like that. In that he writes that the food and medicine we give to the people as the help will only give longevity to the slavery. So one must, I cannot elaborate all these things. One must grasp what is the idea behind it is, we should teach first the self, the power of the self, the Atman itself. After teaching the knowledge, that if once you give the Atma Jnana, then a man can sustain on his own knowledge and do anything in his life. That is more important. So first give the self-knowledge. This is what Shankara did. Not that it wasn't there, but in his perspective of Vedanta, he stressed more on the self-knowledge than anything else. Secondly, we cannot solve the problem at the physical level. Though we have to solve the problem at the eternal level, at the level of reality, at the level where it always exists. So our self also, our Atman also is timeless, kalatita. It is having no character, gunatita. When we bind this Atman to this word by the time, space and causation, it suffers. So Buddha also found the cause of dukkha, and Vedanta had already found the cause of dukkha. And Shankara did a new system where the people who are following the Sanatana Dharma and the Veda, the Vedic rituals and Vedic this one, they used to be more karmakandis because the stress was given more to the action than to the knowledge. So Shankara separated the aspect of karma khanda and jnana khanda. Even though the whole Veda we have to study, whole Veda we have to follow, what is more important is moksha, emancipation. That is what is taught in the Veda. Na karmanana prajaya dhanena tyage naikena amritatvam anashahu. This is more important than doing the karma khanda. The karma khanda is mainly stresses the fulfillment of desires here and hereafter. That is why in the Chadana Chatushtaya of the Advaita, it says first you have to you should have the desire for ihamutra phalaboga viraga. Iha means here and amutra means in the heavens. The Vedas guarantees the pleasure in the heaven also through some yajnas. That also you have to renounce. And whatever is there, the pleasure here, that also you have to renounce. And this is the important and the main idea of our Vedas. That's what he wanted to show to this whole world. And the Vedanta speaks of realization of the self. And the realization of the self is possible only when we stop hankering for these worldly pleasures. So this is the triangle, kama, kanchana and karma. These three things he wants to destroy. So if you look at the teachings of Shankara, that means Bhashya, the interpretation of the Shankara, commentaries of Shankara on the Vedanta, you feel as if you are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, where Sri Ramakrishna goes on and on and on to speak of the renunciation of lust and gold. Shankara also in his Bhashya goes on and on to the renunciation of lust and gold. So both are teaching the same thing and both have the base on the Vedanta itself. So this is one thing. So first thing what he wanted to us to do is the renunciation of the desires. That is what the scriptures also stresses. He stressed more on that. Once we do that, once we start doing that, once we retract our mind back to ourselves by stopping the waves of these desires, what develops is the vairagya. From the wise of the vairagya, when you start seeing this word becomes illusion. This is the maya according to Shankara. This whole world in reality is like maya. It's like a mirage. In Kannada we call bisil gudre. We see the water. If you go to, especially when there is a hot summer, when you are traveling in the road, you will see as if some water is there. That is called mirage. So this world is like a mirage. So we must conclude that this world is a mirage by vichara. This is called Atma Vichara. How Shankara showed us the way by self-analysis we can overcome the problems, our life problems. That is more important for us. What is the use of reading the commentaries of Shankara? One can ask. That is why our scripture says, Prayojanam anuddishya mandopi na pravartate. If there is no, tomorrow somebody gives you the appointment letter in a factory, then you will ask how much in the appointment letter he has written about the salary and the other benefits. So without that you will not go into the factory because you want something after offering your talent and work to that company and that organization, that proprietor, and whoever it may be. So everybody is seeking their own benefit, and now you are asking us to do something like we are reading this Shankara and following the Advaita. What is the benefit for us? The benefit for us is we will become blissful. We will get that Nityananda. We will get that Atmananda, which is untouched by the objects of this world, which is untouched by this life itself. We get separated from what is happening in and around. So it becomes an easy means to overcome day-to-day problems. So how to do this? Atma Vichara, Shankara unfolds all these things in his teachings, which I will going to tell you one by one. So how to solve this problem? The problem seen at the physical world, we should look all this world as if it is the shadow of the reality. The reality is something different from what we are seeing. Once we start seeing this world as a shadow of that reality, we start getting detached to this world. Everybody is seeking the truth. Nobody is seeking the untruth. So when we start moving towards ourselves, we start moving away from this illusion. Secondly, in his Bhashya, there is a systematic approach to this subject. He has written Bhashya on 10 principal Upanishads, on Gita and Brahma Sutra. These three became congregated as Prasthanatraya. So later commentaries, which happened through Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, and so many other schools of Vedanta, like Nimbarka, Vallabha, so many other people came. All these people followed the system of Shankara. So firstly, he showed the path how to establish your own schools of philosophy. So later, post Shankara, whatever philosophical schools came, either it was for Shankara or against Shankara. There were so many people who were for Shankara also, like Sureshwaracharya, his own disciple. He was Mandana Mishra earlier. Then there was Padmapada, his own disciple. He wrote a commentary called Panchapaduka on Shankara's Brahma Sutra, Chatushukti, 4 sutras. Then in his own lineage, in his own school, it is called Vivarana school because of one Prakashatmayati. He wrote one book called Panchapaduka Vivarana on the Panchapaduka of Padma. Like this, many Advaitins also came, like Bhamati. Bhamati is the commentary on Brahma Sutra's Bhashya by Vachaspati Mishra. He was also a great scholar. He has written the books on all the Shaddarshanas. Then came Advaita Siddhi of Madhusudan Saraswati. All these are the followers of the Shankara's Advaita Vedanta. Then came Ramanuja's Vishtishta Advaita Vedanta, Madhva's Advaita Vedanta. All these people started writing the commentaries on this Prasthanatraya only. So he gave a guideline to the whole Indian systems of philosophy. Then he is also called Shanmata Stapanacharya. He revived the system of the rituals, system of the pujas. So who are the Shad Devatas of the Hinduism? Surya, Shakta, that is the followers of the goddess Devi, then Vishnu, then Shiva, Ganapatya and Skanda, Kumara. So these are the Shanmata Stapakacharya, although we do not see the contribution to the Kumara system, which is more Og in Tamil Nadu and all that. For the 5 systems, he has contributed his own. He has written, other than these commentaries, the Prakarana Granthas, like Upadesha Sahasri, Viveka Chudamani, so many books. And he has also written the stotras, the poems, on all the gods and goddesses. So, not only that, he traveled India twice. So, traveling from one place to the other is an important aspect in re-establishing the religion, in reforming the religion. This he did, and Swami Vivekananda also did. But the days of Shankara was comparatively difficult to the days of Swami Vivekananda. He had some trains and all that, sometimes he used to go. But during the Shankara's time, it was so difficult. The forest was so thick. He went to Narmada. When we go to the Narmada, the Vindhyachala, it is very thick. So from the Kaladi, you know all the stories of what happened in Kaladi. He was born to his parents Shivaguru and his mother Aryamba at a very old age. They were very old at that time. They prayed on hand to Lord Shiva, and he obliged, and he became their son. And later on, when he was just 8 years old, he beseeched his mother when the crocodile was caught. That place is also there near the Shankara Janmasthana in Kaladi. He was caught. That crocodile was nothing but the manifestation of Indra. So she said, okay, let him take sannyasa. So like that he got another lease of 16 years of life and another 16 years of life, totally 32 years of his life. So he went straight away to the Narmada, traveling to Narmada. There he met his guru Govinda Bhagat Pada. Who is Govinda Bhagat Pada? A disciple of Gaudapada. When we do the Parampara Puja of the Advaitins, all this name comes. Vyasam, Vasishtam, Ityadaya. So Gaudapada, what is the contribution of Gaudapada? He has written the Mandukya Karika on Mandukya Upanishad. So in the 10 Upanishads, 10 principal Upanishads, Ishakena Kata, Mundaka Mandukya, Aittariya Prashna, Chetashvatara, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka. All these things Shankara has written the commentaries. In the Mandukya, it's only some 5 shlokas are there in the original Upanishad. Prajnana Ghana, Prajnanam Brahma, it teaches. On that, Gaudapada has written the Mandukya Karika. That Mandukya Karika has to be integrated with the Upanishad and should be studied. So that is the procedure, that is the parampara. When you go into the Advaita schools, you will study the Mandukya Karika also. So his Parama Guru is Gaudapada Karika. Govinda Bhagavat Pada was sitting in that Omkareshwar, which is the Jyotirlinga, below in that cave. So the flood, Narmada flood came and engulfed that cave also, and his disciples were there. Govinda Bhagavat Pada's disciples were there, and those disciples were shouting, oh, our Guru is inside, and the cave is getting filled. So Shankara came at the right time, and he took his kamandalu and he sucked the water, extra waters from that river, and the river came down, and Govinda Bhagavatada came to know that his disciple has come. So he gave him the sannyasa. He gave the teachings of Upanishad, including what he got from his Guru Gaudapada. All those things happened. He moved on and on. He might have written some commentaries there itself, or he went to Varanasi and he wrote majority of the commentaries perhaps in Varanasi itself. So he acquired his disciples, except Mandana Mishra there, Padmapada, Hastamalaka, all those disciples came to him. And one incident I will tell which happened in Varanasi. Shiva wanted him to teach a lesson because he was born in an Ambudari Brahmin family. Even though he was a complete Advaiti, seeing Brahman everywhere, Brahman in every being, yet that identification had not gone. So after finishing the bathing in the Ganga with his disciples, he was, you might have seen in the Varanasi, everything is narrow. In a narrow street, he was coming back after taking the bath in Ganga, and from the other side, with 4 dogs, one Chandala was approaching. Chandala. So the people, that such kind of Chandalas, they call them as Shopaka. Shunichaiva Shopakascha Pandita Samadarshinaha. That's what is told in Gita. The people who cook the dog's flesh, they were such kind of people. So untouchable people. So then he shouted Shankara, Gacha, Gacha, hey, move away from my path. So at that person, the Chandala started asking, who will move away? Who has to go? Who is untouchable? So when he started questioning, then the eyes of the Shankara opened and he came to know that the person who is in front of him is nothing but his own manifestation, the avatara. He himself is the avatara of Shiva. That is why in the Madhaviya Shankara Digvijaya, Madhavaranya, our own Karnataka, Madhavaranya, Vidyaranya belongs to our own Karnataka. Vidyaranya has written a famous book called Jivan Mukti Viveka. You must be knowing all these things. How he revived, Vidyaranya revived the Vijayanagara Empire, Hakka Bukka and all that. So Madhava is his brother. In that Madhaviya Shankara Digvijaya, Madhava Aranya says, Shambhor Murtish Charati Bhavane Shankaracharya Rupa. So Shankara and Shankara are meeting together to awaken the Shankara in human form, the reality of the Atman. So in that Shankara writes or does the stuti of Shiva called Manisha Panchaka. Manisha Panchaka. In that he prostrates to the Chandala and says, Chandalostu satudhijostu gururutyesha Manisha Mama. He may be a Chandala, he may be a Brahmin, but if he has awakened myself, he is my Guru. He prostrates to Shiva in the form of Chandala. This is important thing. So whatever commentaries he had written, it is only not to establish his own intellectual prowess in this world, only to prove the Shruti. What is Shruti? Vedas. So whatever system he adopted, dialectics he adopted, it is Shrutanukula Tarka. And he got this knowledge from the Guru Parampara. So Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Pramanam is important. Even though we can imagine the self by our own methods, that we should not do. That is not allowed in our Shastra. We have to go through the scriptures and go through the person who is already established in that knowledge, who has already experienced the Brahman. Achino tapi shastrani swayam acharate yasmat tasmad acharya uchyate. This is what is the qualification of the acharya. To such acharya, Shankaracharya went and learned that. That is why he wants us to respect the lineage, the parampara of the masters. By our own understanding, by our own intellect, one must not venture into the knowledge of Atman. That is why in the Gita Bhashya, on the second sloka of the 13th chapter, he says, Asampradayavit, tasmad asampradayavit, shastra vidopi murkhavadeva upekshaniyaha. Suppose you are so much intelligent that nowadays books are available, internet is there, and AI tools are also there. You can go and start reading Upanishads, and you feel that you can understand yourself. So those things are not allowed because the experience can happen only by the person who has experienced. If that a person who has that experience, if he gives the knowledge, then you will experience that. When Sri Ramakrishna touched Swami Vivekananda, immediately Swami Vivekananda experienced that Brahman in Dakshineshwar. We might have already read that incident in the Ramakrishna's great master. So this is more important. Sampradaya is very important. So he re-established this Sampradaya. That is why Swami Vivekananda later on expounded his philosophy and his teachings majorly based on the Advaita philosophy of Shankara. That's why he told in one of his lectures, see, I preach only Upanishads. If you look, you will find that I have never quoted anything but Upanishads. So he wanted everyone to go back to that Upanishads, and he told that the future universal religion will be the philosophy of the Upanishads, and philosophy of the Upanishads more or less based on the interpretations of Shankara. We also follow the interpretations of the Shankara. We means the sannyasins and devotees of Ramakrishna order. So let us go into the methods he has given to know about our own self. So where we have to seek this self. ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ನಾವು ಈ ಆತ್ಮನನ್ನು ಹುಡುಕುವುದು ಎನ್ನುವುದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. That means to say that in this world of illusion, in the world of Maya, we have lost ourselves. We have lost ourselves and we are searching ourselves. So where we have to begin our searching? There is a book which is many people of you might have read. That is by Idris Shah, one of the Persian author. The book is The Exploits of Incomparable Mullah Nasruddin by Idris Shah. Mullah Nasruddin's parables we have studied, we have seen a book, those books in our childhood. Mullah Nasruddin Katai, like that. And that story is also very famous. I just repeat here. So one day, Mullah, in the later part of the evening, it was almost dark. On the road near a lamp post, he was searching for something. He had bent his knees and he was searching for something. A passerby went near to him and asked, Nasruddin, what are you searching? He said, I am searching the needle. In the story also, different sorts of stories will be there, no? So in some books it is like he has lost the key, and in another place he has lost the needle. Whatever it may be, he might have lost the needle because his house was open. So he was searching that, and he also tried to help him, and he also started searching. He couldn't find. Then he asked Mullah, where did you lose this? Then he said, I lost it in my house. Then Mullah, that person who tried to help him, he asked, then why you are searching here? Then he said, there is no light inside. So because the light is here, I am searching that object. So we have no light in our heart. That is why we are searching the Atman elsewhere. We are searching ourselves elsewhere. Elsewhere means in some houses, in America, in our relatives, thinking that they will give the pleasure. They will give something. So we are searching ourselves in the world, but we are not searching that in our heart. So the search must begin in ourselves. We should center our seeking in ourselves. Then only you can tread into the path of philosophy of Shankara. But if you read the Advaita, it says you are already that. There is no need for you to do anything. Even there is no need for you to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. If you have gone through some concepts of Advaita, you will become clear. And those concepts I cannot tell you now. I had to pass through those things. So the process is you have to go to the Guru. Like I told you, the good Acharya, Samitpanihe Shrotriyam Brahmavittam. And there are the standards which who has to go and seek that knowledge. Ihamutra Palabogariya Viraga must be there. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti must be there. Mumukshatva is there. That means I want to liberate from this misery. I want to liberate from this life. Those people will go to the Guru. And Guru will start testing you. In that Prashnopanishad also it comes. For 1 year, Guru says, you just stay with me in my Gurukula. Then he starts preaching. So the preaching will not be given immediately. All this process they will follow. Then he will start hearing that. Then he will start understanding that. That is called yukti. Shravana, yukti. Yukti means logics. Then you will experience that. After what? Manana, nididhyasana. Mana contemplate again and again, again and again, again and again these Upanishad Vakyas. Directly you cannot understand the Upanishad Vakyas, so you read the Bhashya. You read the Bhashya of Shankara, Ramanuja, whoever you like. What is your path? Define your path. Whether you are Advaitin or whether you are a seeker of that supreme power through devotion, you will fix that. After fixing that, you will come to that path. But the process is same. The bottom line is same. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. And after reading that Advaita Bhashya, you will come to know that you are already that. You just come out of that ignorance like just you come out of the sleep. Suppose something, you are dreaming that one tiger is chasing you. It chases you so much, you pant for the breath. Finally, you can't control yourself and you will get up. And you will get up and see you are sleeping on your bed. And you will get relieved. Oh my God, it's just a dream. So Shankara says this word is sapnavat. Not Shankara, the scripture itself says. This word is sapnavat. It's just like a dream. Can we realize like this? Why, if it is so easy, we are unable to realize that? Why it is happening so? This is an intrigue question. It can happen suddenly also. But more or less we have to pass through these conditions. First we have to purify ourselves through karma, chitta shuddhi. Then we will get rid of this attachment to this word. Once we get rid of this attachment to this word, we will rest on our own self. So to this, a big process is there. We have to first end this karma, come to the places like this, hear this, start doing meditation upon that, then realize yourself that you are on all these processes are there. And after that you will come to know that you are already that. This is the thing. And why this process is happening? Why it is taking so long? When Swamiji was, to narrate that, I will tell you an incident. When Swamiji was walking in Rajasthan, in the state called Ajmer in those days, he was a wandering monk, you all know that. After leaving that Baranagar Mutt, he started moving as a Parivrajaka for 6 years. So he came to Ajmer. He came to Ajmer and accepted the atitheya of a Muslim lawyer. He was a guest of a Muslim lawyer for a few days. Then the minister of that Ajmer, Munshi Jagmohan Lalji, he met Swamiji and he got very much inspired by his personality. And an English knowing monk. So immediately he asked Swamiji, Swamiji, why you are here? You should have come to our palace, etc., etc. Why you are living with a Muslim? Swamiji said, what? It is all those things nonsense for a sannyasi. I am beyond all this caste, religion and all that. Then immediately Jagmohan Lal went to the king, Raja Ajit Singh. He also became the disciple of Swami Vivekananda. And he told that such a great man has come. Ajit Singh is a great person, a very simple, down to the earth. He became an ardent follower of Swami Vivekananda. He died before Swamiji's passing away. He became his Shishya. He used to sit on the floor and Swamiji used to sit on the throne. Such kind of relations they had. He goes back again when his son was born. Anyway, so Swamiji goes to palace. He comes to know that Raja himself will come to see him. So to avoid all that embarrassment to the king, he himself rushes to the palace, and in front of him the disciple, the king is sitting, and the king asking, he also was knowing the English. So he asked in English, Swamiji, what is life? Swamiji told him, life is the unfoldment and development of a being under the circumstances tending to press it down. So we have to unfold our Atman in this world which has the tendency to press the knowledge of the self. This is the whole process of life. In spite of that, we have to struggle. Our life is, our self is like a potential spring, coiled spring, which is suppressed by the Maya, this word, the illusion. So we have to pump this lid out and come out gigantically. That gigantic spring opens up. So once that gigantic spring opens up and we realize ourselves, we will not be different from Shankara and Vivekananda. We will not be different from the gods and goddesses. We are one with them. Nothing will stop us. So this realization will come once we remove this suppression of Maya. So how to overcome this Maya? All these things Shankara shows in his Upanishads one by one. Especially he gets the freedom in Adhyasa Bhashya. Adhyasa Bhashya is the preamble to the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. There he gets his own independence and he writes a wonderful Bhashya on that Adhyasa is nothing but superimposition. We superimpose the non-self on the self and we suffer. And this Adhyasa happens because of the Ajnana, the ignorance of the self. All these things are explained there in one by one methods. Upadesha Sahasri, Viveka Chudamani, all those things are his independent work. There he gives a systematic way to approach our own self, Atman. All these things one must read, one must try to go through all these classes if somewhere it is going on, or you have to catch hold of the person who teaches all these things. Nowadays there are lot of people and the avenues available to learn all those things. So what are the criteria? If it is so easy, and if you are now determined to go through this knowledge, what are the criteria? The important thing is that we should overcome our own weaknesses, the bad tendencies. What are the bad tendencies? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all these things we have to overcome. We have to enhance our sattva. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Guna. All these three things you might have heard of. In the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna deals with Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. In that Asuri Yoga Mapanna, Mudha, Janmani. So those ignorant people who follow the path of the wickedness, they will not get this knowledge. So come out of that path of wickedness and start treading the path of the sattva, path of righteousness, path of truth, path of devotion. All these things will start helping you. That is why the first thing that anatma things that enter into our being is through these indriyas, through these senses. That is why Krishna tells to retract the senses from this world. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasharadasyaha indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. When the senses are blocked, the mind becomes calm. The calmness of the mind is absent because we are going behind these senses. Mysore pak, masala dosa, like that. When they irritate our whole body, when it enters our stomach, uppu, huli, kara, all these things dances inside our stomach and makes our mind also to dance again and again. So the desires it is just an example, you can extrapolate to everything what you are desiring. Now we are not children, so we don't hanker for all that, but we hanker for something else and we burn our fingers. So first thing is to conquer our mind, which is going through this ports of the senses. So conquering our mind is like winning the kingdom. In the Viveka Chudamani, Shankara writes, Akrutva Shatru Samharam Agatva Akhila Bhushriyam Raja Hamidi Matvano Raja Vivitam Narhati. Suppose if somebody says that I am the king, and sitting on the roadside begging something, what do you say? He is not only a beggar, but he is a mad fellow. So we are all mad. We are thinking that we are kings. We may be kings outside. We may be the CEOs of some company, but have we ever conquered ourselves, our mind, our weaknesses? It is not there. So conquer yourself. The story of Alexander and that saint you already know. The time is running out. I will not tell that story. You just recall that story in your mind. You will come to know that conquering ourselves is the greatest victory. So Satrus, these are the senses. The tendency of the senses. Senses not itself. Without eyes, without ears, without tongue we cannot live. But the tendency of these things to go into this world is the senses. It's called senses. We are the enemies first. So kill those tendencies, the bad tendency of the senses. Abhaktva sakala shriyam. If you are not having the treasury key, and you say that I am the king, who will say that you are the king? So a king must have the control over his sampat, his boundaries. Then only he becomes the king. So conquer your senses. Without conquering the senses, if you simply read Shastra, nowadays we chant your Vedas, we chant mantras, all these things we do, but without conquering our senses. What is the use of that? We just chant the mantras. So that is also not useful. Akrutva drushya vilyam ajnatva tattvamatvanah bahya shabdai kuto mukti mukti matra falai nudam. Just by chanting, we will be paining our mouth, that's all. There is no use of that. So what will happen? First, we have to purify our mind by controlling the senses. Then second method is there called Karma Yoga, which is taught by Krishna, also Vivekananda. Do the work for the sake of work. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu gadachana. Once you start doing the work with a detachment to the fruit of action, the chitta gets purified. When you do the work for the sake of others, that is called Seva Yoga, your mind gets purified. Before getting into the action, first learn about Atman. This is what is done in the Gita. This is what is done by the Shankara. Know yourself first. Know who am I. Instead of asking the question, how is life, to your friends, you should ask the question, how Ajit Singh asked to Swami Vivekananda, what is life? What is life, Swamiji? How is life now? How is your life now? What is life? That is what Ramana used to tell. You ask, who am I? Who am I? Then slowly, we will separate the ahankara and come to the real I. This is also a process. Analyze yourself. Aham pratyaya. Who am I? Who am I? Deeply ask this question. Deeply ask this question. Who am I? We should become a mantra for you. Then, because you are already that question will take you to your original abode. Gradually it will take you there. One day or the other, you will reach yourself because you are the self itself. So whenever you find the time, now of course, more or less the people here are assembled more than 50, 55, 60. And what else you have? Now the karma kshaya has happened. The karma has reduced. Lot. Real. You might have done a lot. You have given up your business. You are retired. What is the best way? The best way to spend your life is to seek the self. Karma is reduced. The God has given such an opportunity now to contemplate on the self, and you must start immediately, quickly, into reading about start with the translation of the Shankaracharya. You will get something. Something is better than nothing. Which starts happening. So, the Atmajnana means giving the self-empowerment. Giving the self-empowerment back to ourselves. We had not lost, but we had given to others. We define ourselves by defining what others think, what my wife thinks about me, what my son thinks about me, what my boss thinks about me, is our definition of self. So these are all non-self. These are all nonsense. So come out of these nonsenses and seek yourself. And that self is always effulgent, powerful, sarvajna, sarvavit, sarvatma. So remove all the ignorance about yourself and you are already that. So Swamiji's teaching, Swami Vivekananda's teaching on the faith on yourself is based on the Shankara Bhashyas, interpretation of the Shankaras and the Shrutis. This is the importance of knowing about yourself. So seek the knowledge of self more than knowledge of anything else. Nowadays the habit of the reading itself has gone down. That is one more thing to worry. So once, if you have still the habit of reading something or the other, start reading about the Advaita. It will help you a lot. So what you will do now is you will start giving the self-empowerment to yourself. By this, the darkness in yourself will go. And you will start getting the companionship of such seekers. Sadvyaktigalu namig siktare. The people who help in that path starts coming to you. Suddenly your real master may be there. There is a connection between one soul to the other. Guru-Shishya, sambandha will be there. You may find your Guru today or tomorrow. So start working on that. Hanker for that knowledge. Who knows, tomorrow he may come and knock your door. All these things will happen once you start progressing in this path. Anything, not only the teachings of Shankara, anything is possible. So, the hedonistic approach means that pleasure is there in this world must stop. That hedonists were there in the Greek philosophy, you all know that. Such people were there in India also, they were called Charvakas. So Shankara condemned all those people, Charvakas, Karmakandis, even Upasakas, who just dwell only on the meditation, Upasana, not seeking the knowledge, only the pleasure for the mind, mental peace, manashanti beku. Nowadays, why yoga, dhyana, meditation is so famous, especially in the abroad, in the foreign countries like America and Europe, because they get some peace of mind. So, lot of people go to meditation, yoga and all that, but are they seeking the self? No. Why they are seeking this peace of mind? To enjoy this world more. But the Indian approach is not that. We want the manashanti for the realization of the self. Mamushatvam, mumukshatvam, he says. Mumukshatva means the desire to become one with ourself. Oktum miksha mumuksha. This is what Shankara taught. So, again, what is the phala? What is the effect of knowing ourselves? One thing is, peace is always guaranteed. There is no doubt about it. It is a byproduct. Gnana is important. In that process, what we get as a byproduct, we get peace of mind. Peace of mind was not our goal, but peace of mind naturally comes to us. Once the peace of mind naturally comes to us, we will become more and more confident to go in that path further and further, farther and farther. These things will happen. Secondly, what happens is, we will become fearless. Nirbhayata will come. Fear is a main factor, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ಭಯ ಅನ್ನೋದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಭಯ ಹೋಗಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ we try a lot. It won't go. Some fear or the other will be there. And that eats away a lot of our energy. But Atmajnana gives the fearlessness immediately. Because that is also a characteristic of Brahman. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನ ಗುಣಗಳು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನಿಗೆ ಗುಣ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ತೋರ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಗುಣಗಳು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. That story comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself, in the early stages of Madhukanda itself. There, the Brahma was alone, it says. The Brahman was alone. So suddenly, if we are alone and it is dark in your room, you are alone, or you might have gone deep into some forest, or in any area where it is quite dark, it becomes a sort of spooky, and you start fearing. A fear develops. And why this fear is there? Leave alone that the stories of the devil and all which were told in our childhood days, but naturally we become fearful when we are alone. It is not because of our weakness. It happened in that Brahman, who is our father, Hiranyagarbha. To him himself, this happened. That's what the Brihadaranyaka says. So Bhivet, it says, that Brahma became little fearful. Then it starts analyzing. Manana, we say, Vichara. It started analyzing, why I am fearing? Yad mad anyan nasti. Nobody is there other than me. Why should I fear? Kasmana bibemiti. From whom I am becoming fearful? Then it concludes itself. That conclusion will come. Once we analyze this word as Maya, then the conclusion will come that I am Atman. Like that, for Brahman also, suddenly it became fearful, and then it came to the conclusion, nobody else is there. If somebody else is there, they may come and hit me, so there is no chance of that. So I need not have to fear. That is why when the fear comes, there the Upanishad is telling, Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. When someone else is there, then only we get the fear. So, what is the conclusion? In a funny way, I want to tell, avoid people. Become alone. That is why, Vedo nityam adiyatam taduhitam karmasvanushthiyatam tene shitam vidiyatam upajitihi kamye matistyajyatam papogah paridhuyatam bhavasuke doshonusandhiyatam atmanavasiyatam nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam. So walk as soon as possible from your home. That is what Yajnavalkya did in the Munikanda also. After winning that contest in the Janaka's palace and winning all the 1,000 cows studded with gold on their horns, he comes back and tells to his wives, Maitreyi and Katyayani, that I want to do parivrajana. I just want to renounce this word and go. Maitreyi was wise, he was the elder wife. Katyayani was happy with all that division of the wealth, and he had won so much of gold in the contest of Janaka. All those things were there, very alluring, and we get washed away by all these things immediately. So that is why the difficulties, when they come, it is good for the realization of self. Anyway, so when he told that, and Maitreyi was more wiser, she asked, what is the use of all these things if you are renouncing all these things? Will I get pleasure from this? Then he says, all these days, O Maitreyi, you were dearer to me but today you became more dearer to me. So these things will not give you the pleasure. Navittena tarpaniyo manishya. From wealth, from money, one cannot have the bliss. This is the conclusion of the Shrutis. Shankara hammers this again and again and again. Give up this word and you will become the all-powerful knower of Atman, which will remain with you eternally. This is what is called Jivan Mukta Avastha. First, you will realize this bliss, Anubhava, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and once you open your eyes, you will come to know that everything is nothing but other than myself. Everything is nothing other than myself. I am alone, becoming all these things. It looks as if they are different, but they are not different from me. That realization will come, and that will give the cessation from the misery. Dukkha nivrutti ananda avapti. That is what is guaranteed in the Advaita philosophy. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.